Where to begin? This chapter has me having so many mixed emotions. Chills, hype, anxiety, all sorts of emotions right now. And this chapter has a message. Something that was quite the plot twist. And some could have easily have missed the plot twist in this chapter, which threw me for a loop. I decided to look up the real name of Shigaraki that was actually revealed in this chapter, and when I did, I discovered a connection to One for All, the sensei of All Might. I gotta say, this chapter is deep. It's pretty fucking deep when you start pinning together all these different little details together. When it comes to Shigaraki, All for One, One for All, Shimura, and when you start putting all these together, you're like, holy shit. The build-up for this is just crazy. It wasn't just All for One making his move and the terror Izuku felt when he realized, or didn't even realize, it was just so quick he didn't even have time to process it, but when a bunch of pro heroes were completely wiped off the face of the earth. There's just so much. And it's not just that. There's another main theme of this chapter that plays a huge part and has been building up for a long time since the introduction of Shigaraki's character. And we've gotten little glimpses and, little details about it here and there. But finally with this chapter, we truly get the actual backstory of Shigaraki and kind of what happened. And I first things first, I gotta compliment the mangaka for this beautiful writing I'm witnessing right now. This is seriously good writing. I am really, really, really happy with this chapter. I mean, Boku no Hero Academia has some very good writing to begin with, and it's done some crazy shit, especially with the last chapter. But this chapter takes it a whole new level, like a different level entirely from the previous chapters. And I'm half tempted to say, this chapter right here is probably one of my personal favorite chapters of Boku no Hero Academia. And Shigaraki has the potential to be a better character than Stain. And you all know how much of a fanboy I am when it comes to Stain. Stain is a fucking awesome character. I love his main motive, what he tries to set out to do. I just love Stain so much. And then seeing this chapter now, I'm conflicted. I'm like, holy shit, Shigaraki has the potential to beat Stain now in terms of being a very epic character. So let me explain what is going on here. So I'm just gonna say, to briefly cover this, okay, we come to find out that Shigaraki, as we know, he in the past, All Might never came to save him. We kind of got glimpses and details of this in the past chapters, and this gets a little bit more clarified with this chapter. All Might storms in, at the last chapter last week, he storms in, all the villains are pretty much captured, and they're getting locked up, and All Might's there like, I am here to end this is the end, and, Shigaraki, he's all chained up, he can't move and stuff, and he's just talking back to All Might, and one thing leads to another to where Shigaraki gets pinned, and all hope pretty much seems to be lost. And as this is all happening, this is what is said to Shigaraki. That there's nowhere for you to run. Hey, Shigaraki, I wanted to ask, where exactly is that boss of yours? That boss is All for One. And then all of a sudden Shigaraki goes blank, and then we have a flashback. Nobody came to save you, huh? It must have hurt. Shimura Tenko. Now, remember that name. That name is very important. I will mention it in a minute, and I will explain it. Just give me a second. And then all of a sudden, after we get a brief little panel of a flashback, we flash forward back to the present day. You see the cops storming in and all that, pretty much the heroes. And you see Shigaraki, he's looking through his hand, which is his father's hand. He's like, nonsense, this. And then he goes back into a flashback once again, and this is what happens. The heroes will... Before long, the heroes will. Everyone said things like that, but they all ignored you, didn't they? How exactly did the world end up like this? Who made it that way? And all of a sudden, after that, it says, you didn't do anything wrong. And then Shigaraki flashes forward back to present day. He's like, not like this. Nonsense. Get out of my sight. Vanish. I hate you. And in this part right here, let's explain it. Pretty much, Shigaraki as a kid, he was all alone. And this person, which we all know now, is All For One, coming to save Shigaraki, okay? I'll explain the connections here in a second, but I just want to explain the message here of what was going on through Shigaraki's head. So, when he was younger, you see this beaten state of Shigaraki. He's all alone. His parents are gone, dead, everything. He's pretty much a lonely child, and he's asked for help. Nobody came to save him. The heroes will eventually come, but they never arrived. And a man walks up, which is the ultimate evil, All For One. He starts talking, persuading, being the good guy, pretty much, the hero. Even though he's a villain, he was being the hero to Shigaraki. And Shigaraki, the entire time when he was alone, he wanted a hero to save him. He wanted a hero to come help him out in the time of need. And that never happened. Nobody ever saved him when he was a kid. But then, when the flash forward happens and he sees the police storming in, and All Might's there, and all these other heroes, and why he's saying nonsense is because of all times, finally someone comes here. They're not coming to save him, but they're coming to put him away. They're coming to imprison him. And that's the sad thing here. When he says, like, not like this, and all that, and he's like, nonsense, get out of my sight, vanish, it's like, of all times you guys appear in front of me to help me out, you appear before me now when you've already pretty much fucked my entire life over. You didn't save me when I was younger, but now you're here to save me. A fucking villain had to save me. That's pretty much what's going on here. And I feel so bad for Shigaraki because I understand his viewpoint. He's like, why now of all times? Now that I've done something like this, you will definitely come. You'll come to stop me. But when I'm in need, I'm a desperate child, can't even eat, I'm probably starving, my parents are gone, you don't come to save me. The symbol of peace never saves me. And we know All Might's side of the story as well, but this right here has a lot of weight to it, because there's more meaning to it than that. So let's dive back into the actual beginning part of the flashback, the name reveal. Shimura Tenko. Now, this is the crazy thing, okay? As we know, Shigaraki, he goes by a different name. And with this, we come to find out the real name of Shigaraki. And this was quite the big reveal, which led me to go to Google and type in the name, and I typed in, Boku no Hero Academia, Shimura Tenko, and I was given a link to Shimura. And this is the interesting part. I will probably have it linked in the description for you guys to check it out for yourself, but when I clicked on it, this is what popped up in the wiki. Shimura was one of the past users of One For All quirk, and a close friend of Gran Torino. As we know, One For All is the quirk that All Might has, and previous users of, the quirk has had, and also Izuku currently houses, One For All. And Shimura was the teacher to All Might. He was that special. Shimura was the sensei to All Might, and the one that gave All Might his power. Okay, now, if you go into this, and you go into the history, you come to find out that Shimura, he was murdered by All For One. Now, you're probably wondering, okay, so what's going on here? Well, if you go back to the page here, this page, when the name reveal of Shigaraki is revealed, Shimura Tenko, instant connection right there. Shimura, the sensei of All Might, and Shimura Tenko, which is the real name of Shigaraki. What this implies is that Shigaraki is the child of All Might's teacher. Now, let's go even further. The hand on Shigaraki's face is his father. Do you not see this yet? The hand on Shigaraki's face is his fucking father's hand, Shimura. And Shimura was the teacher to All Might. Now, here's the more fucked up part about this, okay? Of all people All Might couldn't save at the time, the symbol of peace, he couldn't save the child of his teacher. Now, even more fucked up is that the reason why Shigaraki was in this entire situation to begin with, why he's lonely and no parents there for him, is thanks to All For One. So All For One orchestrated this entire event to make Shigaraki alone, and then he played the good guy to turn Shigaraki against All Might. You get it? So that's the interesting part about this, if you think about it. So All For One was playing Shigaraki since the beginning to turn him into a villain. And All Might didn't save Shigaraki when he was the actual child of his teacher. So a very deep way to look at this chapter. It's crazy. It's really crazy seeing the connection that Shigaraki has to All For One and One For All, and then Shimura, the previous teacher of All Might. It's crazy stuff right there. So, yeah. Many might have missed that. I could see how many could have easily have missed this detail in this chapter, but it definitely just widened my eyes. I was like, oh, like, I just like, damn! So, of all things, this type of shit's going on. This is why I say Shigaraki has the potential to be probably the next best character, besides Stain. Easy. Okay, so, now that I got that out of the way, let's talk about the individuals that we had, like, described. So, Ed Shot gets a little bit more of a description. We come to find out his quirk ability. His quirk ability is called Paper Limbs. And this is his exact description, which I'm going to read it for you. He may be talking about ninja arts, but all he's doing is manipulating the thinness of his body and stretching his limbs. So he can stretch his limbs and then make it thinner. However, through rigorous training, he is able to transform faster than the speed of sound. That's pretty fucking quick. Now, I think All Might's probably faster, but still, he's able to transform and thin his body and stretch it at the speed of sound, which that's some crazy speed. So that's incredible stuff. His quirk is pretty damn broken, so it's kind of understandable now like why he's one of the top pro heroes. Now after that, we get the real names of all the new villains that were introduced in the previous arc. All these villains. For instance, the magician gets one. We get to see the glasses dude, he gets his name revealed. Iguchi, the Stain ripoff wannabe, gets his name revealed. Toga, we kind of already knew about Toga. She gets her name completely set out. And then we also have the Deadpool wannabe dude as well, gets his name spelled out for him. So pretty much all the villains have their names revealed in this chapter as well. So all the information about them has been revealed to the public or to the Hero Association. So now these certain villains cannot really hide themselves anymore. Everybody kind of knows about them and their identities, so they can't really disguise themselves. Now here's the interesting thing that really caught my attention with this chapter, is when the Nomu start appearing through the black sludge, slime, whatever. We know for a fact it's not Black Mist, because Black Mist is currently stunned and unconscious. But there's this black ooze coming out all over the place like warp gates, and if you look closely, Bakugo currently has it coming out of his mouth, which that's pretty scary if you look at that. So something is going on with Bakugo. You have this slime coming out, and as we know what's coming out of this black sludge, it is Nomu's. So I wonder exactly what this implies with Bakugo currently having this come out of his body. Is a Nomu gonna appear out of his throat or something something else going on? I'm very curious about this, but it was something that was shown, and All Might currently, he's still fighting to actually get the black slime off of his arm, and you have it to where Bakugo is already being devoured by the sludge, if you look closely. So, yeah. And anyways, it has a very distinct smell, according to All Might. The hell is this? It smells. And then All Might realizes it couldn't be. No. So whatever this is pretty bad shit. Whatever this, like, slime sludge is, yeah, probably All Might already realized that this most likely is all for one, but I wonder exactly what type of quirk ability is this. Is it just used for teleportation, or does it have something else? I'm curious about that, because All Might is freaking out. He's like, no. And then we leave off of All Might and we go into the next segment, which leads into a situation going on outside where Endeavor is. You have a bunch of Nomus just breaking out through this black slime, attacking everybody. It's just a very bad situation. Everything that could go wrong pretty much just has gone wrong. All these Nomus are popping out, attacking everybody. Everybody's in a fight. They're all pretty much separated. You have it to where they can't give reinforcements inside of the Villain Association's bar. You have it to where the heroes outside are having to fight. And as we know, Nomus are not really that easy to take down depending on what quirks they have and how they've been structured. So, we know for a fact this is not going to be an easy battle when you see a bunch of these appearing in between a bunch of different soldiers. So that's pretty bad. Friendly fire and all that could happen in this. And that's just to begin with the devastation that's currently going on. But to get even worse, Genist. This is the part where it gets really bad. This part right here is something that made my mouth and jaw just drop. So, everything seems to be going fine, okay? As we saw with last week, you had it where the Nomu factory's kind of taken under control. The heroes got in there, started capturing all the Nomus, and you had to where Mount Lady was there, Best Genist is there, you know, he's one of the top, you know, heroes, pro heroes. We find out he can manipulate fibers, different clothing and stuff. As long as they have fibers, he can manipulate people and he can pretty much win them. And he has all these Nomus pretty much captured completely. And everything seems to be going fine. And then we get the reveal of Ragdoll. Ragdoll, it is confirmed the girl in last week's chapter, it is Ragdoll, but she is pretty much lifeless. She's limp. And We don't really know if she's going to be able to recover or not because it's not explained yet, but she's limp, lifeless. We know for a fact she no longer has her quirk because All For One took it, which we know for a fact Ragdoll's quirk was pretty damn powerful. A very powerful quirk. So All For One having that in his hands is pretty damn scary shit. It's very scary because with the end of this chapter, a whole new world, new world order is happening. That's exactly what is going on right now at the end of this chapter. So let's get into the All For One stuff. So soon as everything seems to be going well, we get dialogue from All For One. I'm sorry, Tiger. I thought she had a useful quirk long ago. Since the opportunity fell into my lap, I decided to take it. And this is the most shocking part about this, because as we know, All For One, he's connected to test tubes and shit. He's connected up to machines to keep himself going. And when you see this man walking around, you're wondering, like, what the fuck is going on here? Like, what? So, my assumption of this is he's using a quirk to get around, which I will talk about this in a second, but All For One is here, and this is the worst possible situation that it could be at the time. He is actually becoming active. All For One is moving around. Like, the final villain of Boku no Hero Academia is actually moving. Walking, or, you know, not really walking, but he's moving around making his move, and that automatically just screams, holy shit, there's about to be some deaths. And then soon as Izuku looks around, there's a little bit more dialogue, and you have to where the heroes are just talking about it. He's like, my stock has fallen quite a bit ever since my body became like this, and then Genist reacts instantly and kind of tries to attack All For One to stop him from moving or talking. And I love the quick thinking of Genist. I have to give him points. I don't know if he's going to be alive or not, but I will say this. I give him props for not listening to this dude. Even though we know who it is, it's All For One, and what devastation he's about to cause. I have to say, Genist not listening to him and instantly attacking, shutting him up or whatever, that was an excellent move. Because he wasn't going to allow a villain to sweet-talk them or try to play his way out of this or whatever. Genist instantly attacked to try to restrain this person that was in this factory. So, good job, Genist. If you die, I will miss you. You're definitely going to be a good character I will miss. But if for some reason you live, hopefully I get to see you more. Because you're definitely an epic character that, at the very least, gets shit done. So, as soon as that happens, the panel shifts over to complete devastation. This was the most jaw-dropping moment of Boku no Hero Academia for me. Because all of a sudden you have it to where Genist, he restrains All For One. At this time, we don't really know completely if this is All For One. It's not completely noticed yet. Like, we don't know. You can make your assumption, but it's not actually said yet if this is All For One. But then, as soon as Genist tightens his grip on him and kind of keeps him restrained, devastation. Literally, the city just got fucking wrecked. And what I'm going to say right now is that he was looking directly at them. Tiger and Genist, Mount Lady, he was looking directly at these pro heroes. That's what All For One was doing. Now, this alone just sets the tone of this arc and what to expect in these upcoming chapters. As I've already said multiple times, this is probably the arc All Might is going to die. The symbol of peace will fall. The world will be forever changed, the Hero Association will be shunned, and All For One most likely will create a new world order and control the entirety of the country, and maybe the world. And then Izuku most likely is going to have to fight to become the next symbol of peace, but also fight against a corrupt world that's controlled by the villains. It's going to be the age of the villains after this, because there's no way the Hero Association could talk themselves out of this, regardless if All Might dies or not. Let's just say All Might survives, okay? There's no more devastation. All For One backs off right now. Let's just say he backs off right now, which I highly doubt that's going to happen. There's probably going to be a hell of a lot more that's going to happen. But let's just say he backs off right now. It doesn't matter. This is a way worse scale than that has already happened in previous parts of the series. For instance, you remember what Stain did to what happened to a kidnapping of a child. This right here is even worse, because if you look, there's a bunch of buildings just fucking demolished, and you see the ground leveled and pushed all the way back. That right there, you know for a fact, at the very least, some civilians had to be killed in that. at the very least, if the pro heroes didn't die, some form of civilians had to have died. Or I'm calling bullshit. So, there's no way the Hero Association's talking themselves out of this. There's no way. This is going to be a colossal failure, and I don't think the heroes are ever going to be in the proper spotlight ever again after this. But that's probably just the beginning. This is probably the beginning of what is about to happen. So much death. All Might dying means the symbol of peace dies. That means the heroes can no longer protect the civilians, and that means it's an age of villains to control the world, pretty much. As you know, All Might's presence has lowered the crime rate, and what happens when the symbol of peace dies? Villains will come out of hiding and start doing a lot more reckless things, causing a whole lot more issues, which leads to more issues for the Hero Association, which causes it to where the villains will gain control, and that's what's going on here. So, just talking about that alone, let's look at the figure of All For One. He's currently levitating. So it's telekinesis, obviously, what's going on here. It could be an image or something. But if I had to place my cards right, since we know All For One is technically supposed to be connected to machines and stuff, or he has tubes connected to him, either he has some form of image he's creating, like a clone, or B, he's moving his body with a quirk. For instance, he's levitating his body and moving himself around with a quirk ability. Because if you look closely at the way he looks, it looks like his body is limp. Well, seriously, look at this picture right quick with the destruction of the city. His head's down like this, his arms are limp, and his legs or his feet's down too. It looks like if someone honestly hung themselves or something. That's what it looks like. He's completely fucking limp. It's like a dead man. And as we know, All For One can't really do much as well. I mean, this right here kind of explains it. I mean, it looks like he's just controlling his body through a quirk. And if so, that's kind of scary. I mean, look at the devastation this man is causing if he is just controlling his body. But even then again, it could possibly be a clone or something. So yeah, it's still scary nonetheless on his appearance right now. Anyways, the reaction Izuku has summarizes my thought process to this chapter quite well, actually. Izuku says in his mind, I couldn't even turn around because it was just that quick. I couldn't even turn around. In a single instant, we had no idea what happened. In a single instant, in less than a second, this man's aura, it made us see death itself. And then he remembers what is said to him, Izuku. One day, you may have to face him, a showdown with the greatest evil. He just mentioned Tomura, that's Shigaraki. What, no way, All Might, could that mean that this is All For One? That is All For One. I'm just gonna say right now, this chapter is incredible. It's an incredible chapter. Such an incredible chapter. Oh my god, dude. Talking about the death situation now, okay? Mount Lady, Genus, and everybody else. Personally, on a person that likes good writing, I really do hope that the characters are dead. I gotta be honest here. I like Mount Lady, I like Genus, I liked his character, the way he acted in this chapter, but I gotta be real here. I want to see some death. And this is our first time in Boku no Hero Academia we are getting faced with something like this. This is the first time that this mangaka has been faced with a situation where it's possible a character can die or not. Like, you know, we're implied that the character's dead. Now, if we think about this at the end of the day, it is a shonen. Boku no Hero Academia is a shonen. And as you know, many shonen have a lot of issues with killing off characters. That's the truth. Just face the facts here. I'm not saying all shonen don't kill off characters. I'm just saying, facing the facts, a lot of shonen have a hard time with killing off characters. And I'm curious to see how the mangaka handles this, because All For One has been built up to be the ultimate evil. He's the greatest evil. He's the founder of what is currently going on in the story. For instance, All For One and One For All. And if, for instance, with the introduction of All For One finally making his move, if his first attack didn't have such an impact, I feel like it would weaken his character in his way. Because you would think someone that is this powerful, this evil pretty much, he would kill the people in front of him instantly, if he is that evil. So, I really do hope the characters that he just hit are pretty much dead. I really do. I really do. And if they survive, I hope it's a very good explanation. But this is the time for the mangaka to actually reveal how he will handle situations as character death. Will it turn into a regular shonen, or will it branch off like it's constantly done in the past and be something completely different from a normal average shonen? I have high hopes in Boku no Hero Academia, and I believe that the mangaka will surprise us all and do some great things. Now we gotta see how he handles death. So yes, I do hope that all the characters that just got hit are dead, even Ragdoll. But yeah. So, next week cannot come any sooner. Oh, I just realized, fuck, it's Golden Week next week. It's fucking Golden Week. Oh. It's fucking Golden Week next week. Fuck! Okay. So, we gotta wait. That's painful. That's pretty fucking painful. Fuck! Okay, you all have a wonderful day or night wherever you live. Please be safe. Chibi out.